Hello everyone, welcome to Oliveboard. In this particular video, we are going to discuss about the three key updates by RBI. So one is the Bharat Mart, second is the SRO status, and third is the regulation framework that RBI has introduced. Okay, so we have already covered everything in the respective week session of the finance current affairs. However, the news that are important we will be collating and will be bringing you in the form of these videos as well. Okay, before starting the discussion, I would like to tell you about this amazing workshop. So it is scheduled on 28th of May 2025 at 6 p.m. on Zoom. You can register yourself. This is a complete free workshop and you can ask your queries related to your RBI Grade B examination 2025. Right? We'll be sharing 7 game-changing tips here for your examination, and there will be a Q&A session with all of us. Okay, guys? If you are preparing for your examination, you can also check out our course and you can download our Oliveboard application and you'll get all the PDFs related to all the YouTube sessions in the application. You can also start practicing the previous year questions as well, and we all are doing previous year question sessions as well right now, right? So you can join them as well. So let's start with the first thing. RBI recognizes FIMDA as SRO in the financial market. Before starting, I would like to tell you what is FIMDA, what is SRO. The first thing is understanding about the SRO. So SRO is nothing but a self-regulatory organization framework that RBI has introduced in 2024. Okay, so it's a concept of self-regulatory organization, means it's an organization that is having authority to regulate its members. Okay, so this organization is having the authority to regulate its members through adoption and enforcement of the rules of the conduct. The key features are, these are autonomous bodies. Okay, so there is adequate amount of autonomy, so they operate independently but under the regulatory oversight authority as well. They do have standard settings and dispute resolution, so they also provide resolution for the disputes among the members. What is FIMDA? So we discussed about SRO. Now if I talk about FIMDA, then the full form is Fixed Income Money Market and Derivative Association of India. So it was established in 1998. It is a voluntary body, market body, comprising of the following members like scheduled banks, primary dealers, public financial institutions, insurance companies. Okay, so it is playing a basically pivotal role in standardizing the practice related to fixed income securities, related to money market instruments, and related to the derivative market instruments as well. Basically, it is serving as a calculation agent for the daily valuation. So on what value we need to value the financial instruments, it's also guiding us. It administers the key benchmarks, like if I talk about FIMDA, NSE overnight MIBOR, then it's administering it. Okay, NSE overnight MIBOR. So the RBI recognizes FIMDA as benchmark administrator for all the Indian rupee interest rates here. Okay, so these all the things are governed by FIMDA. If we talk about valuation part, benchmarks, derivatives, dispute resolution, right? All these things are the FIMDA is actively involved in the following stuff, right? So if I talk about the real finance current affair which we are going to discuss here, is RBI has recognized FIMDA as a self-regulatory organization in the financial market, which makes it the first financial market body to be recognized as a SRO under the RBI's 2024 SRO framework. So FIMDA here is the first financial market body to be recognized as an SRO under the RBI's framework here. So we have already discussed about FIMDA, that it's a voluntary body, and these are some of the functions that FIMDA is actively doing day to day, right? So why we have done this? So to enhance the oversight and governance in the financial markets by recognizing industry bodies as SRO. So FIMDA is an apt organization to be appointed as a SRO as per RBI. So that's why they have been appointed to enhance the oversight and governance in the financial markets here. Here are some key parameters as well. What will be the implications of the SRO recognition? Definitely enhanced oversight will be there. FIMDA will be playing a pivotal role here in strengthening the compliance culture among its members. So FIMDA will definitely enhance the compliance culture here in the entire ecosystem of financial market. Policy consultation, now they will be serving as a policy consultative platform for policy making in the financial markets. Whenever some kind of policies will be getting framed, then definitely FIMDA will also be consulted for that. Market discipline, it promotes self-regulations leading to more disciplined and transparent market practices in the financial markets here. Okay. So if I talk about the SRO framework, so as per the SRO framework which was released by RBI in 2024, there are some key eligibility criteria for an entities to be recognized as an SRO. हर कोई आके SRO नहीं बन सकता. There is a proper criteria. First, let's talk about legal structure. Then it must be a non-for-profit organization. That means it must be registered under the Section 8 of the Companies Act. So those companies who don't have the profit motive get themselves registered under the Section 8 of the Companies Act, which is related to not-for-profit organization. Here FIMDA is not to make money. However, they are here to enhance the regulatory requirements, right? Minimum net worth, the minimum net worth should be at least 10 crore, right? 10 crore should be the minimum net worth at the time of applicable as per the RBI's framework on SRO. If an entity needs to get itself registered as an SRO, then they should be having minimum net worth of 10 crore. Section 8 company honi chahiye. It should have infrastructure capabilities, right? So it should have infrastructure capabilities to discharge the responsibility of the governance. तो उतनी उनकी capability, उतनी उनकी यहाँ पे infrastructure और facilities होनी चाहिए कि वो easily अपने सारे obligations, अपनी responsibility अच्छे से पूरी कर पाए. Next is diversified shareholding. Now it should not be driven by a single organization or a bunch of multiple organization. No single entity should be having 10% or more of the paid up capital of it, right? If anybody is having more than 10%, let's suppose I am holding 30% of FIMDA, then in that case I can substantially involve, I can substantially influence the decision making of the FIMDA, right? So that's why there is a cap regarding the diversified shareholding. There should be diversification among the shareholders and not concentration among few. Okay, so 10% requirement is there. No single entity should hold 10% or more. So everyone should be having less than 10% here, right? The concept of voluntary membership is there in this. Membership in SRO should be voluntary for the entities in the sector. Representative members and governance standards will also be set here because it must demonstrate the professional competence. The entity should be professionally competent here and should have a general reputation in the market, just like FIMDA is already having. It's a set entity, right, which can now govern the rules and regulations related to financial markets. Okay, so these were the broad things. Next is Bharat Mart. Now RBI has given relaxation to the exporters, and that's a great thing, right? So they have published it on the website itself. Exports through warehouses in the Bharat Mart in UAE. So we are having Bharat Mart warehouses in the UAE, and there were some rules and regulations which have been now relaxed. So there used to be some restrictions. Okay, so there used to be some restrictions that have now been relaxed in this particular circular, I can say, or this news, right? So let's discuss one by one. First, let's understand what is Bharat Mart. So Bharat Mart is nothing but a center, a logistic and a distribution center which is located in the UAE, right? Designed to serve as a gateway for Indian goods to international markets. So let's suppose if we are in India, right? So Indian traders, exporters and manufacturers can store their products, can definitely distribute their products, right? This is a platform to store, display and distribute the products of the Indian manufacturers, of the Indian suppliers, traders in the UAE, right? Facilitating easier access to global consumer. So from this center, they can easily facilitate and serve to the global consumers as well. So that's Bharat Mart. Okay. Now listen, earlier what used to happen is, you need to, as you are the exporter, right? You are exporting something from India. So definitely you will be receiving money. So there are restrictions related to the receipt of money. Earlier what used to happen is, you need to realize and repatriate the exports proceeds, whatever you have received, right, via Bharat Mart. You need to realize it and you need to repatriate it to India from the date of shipment. So usually the period was 9 months from the date of shipment. Let's suppose from India you have shipped the goods to the Bharat Mart. Within 9 months, you need to receive the money, you need to realize and repatriate the money back to India. Now it becomes quite difficult because shipment doesn't promises receipt of money, right? Let's suppose I have shipped 1 crore worth of goods to Bharat Mart. Now it doesn't anywhere promises me to pay money, right? It's not sure that whether I'll be able to materialize it as a sale or not. Okay, so I've just made a shipment here. सिर्फ shipment करने से थोड़ी कुछ होता है, sale भी तो होना चाहिए, right? So now RBI has provided a relaxation की आपका यहाँ पे 9 months का जो क्राइटेरिया है वो from the date of sale देखा जाएगा. 9 months का जो क्राइटेरिया है that will be considered from the date of sales and not from the date of shipment. अगर डेट ऑफ शिपमेंट में होता तो बहुत प्रॉब्लम हो जाती. मान लो आज शिपमेंट कर दिया, 9 महीने तक सेल ही नहीं हुआ. अब सेल ही नहीं हुआ तो पैसा आएगा कहां से जो मैं रिपेट्रिएट करूंगा, रिसीव करूंगा, राइट? सो इट वाज क्रिएटिंग अ लॉट ऑफ प्रॉब्लम्स. दैट्स व्हाई आरबीआई हैज इधर स्ट्रीमलाइंड इट एंड नाउ you need to repatriate the money, you need to realize and repatriate the money within 9 months from the date of sale and not from the date of shipment here. Okay, so definitely it will be very helpful. Next is warehouse operation. So banks have been instructed to allow the Indian exporters with valid exporter code. Okay, so if you are having a IEC, a valid importer exporter code, now you can open or hire warehouses in the Bharat Mart without any kind of precondition. So earlier there used to be preconditions, now there won't be any kind of precondition, but you need to have a valid importer exporter code here, right? Remittance for operational expenses. So exporters can now remit the funds for initial and recurring expenses. There are a lot of expenses that you need to recur, right, every year, or maybe it's initial expense, right, related to the setup or ongoing business operation. Let's suppose you want to set up something in the Bharat Mart, right? So there will be initial expenses and there will be recurring expenses as well every year. Okay, so now exporters can remit the funds for their initial and recurring expense. So these three major updates has been made in the Bharat Mart wala news. Next is RBI introduces public review in the new regulatory framework. Okay, so let's suppose RBI has released something. Now it will be open for public review for X number of days here. Okay, so the X number of days are here 21 days. So RBI has introduced a 21-day public review in the new regulatory framework. So RBI has revised the timeline here, and this initiates a mandatory minimum 21-day public review period. So if you have released a draft regulation, let's suppose RBI has released a draft regulation. Now it should be open for minimum at least 21 days for the public review. So here the public consultation period will be 21 days. Public will be submitting the feedback for this, right? On the official website of RBI, it will be published. Draft regulations जैसे हमारे आते ही हैं, it will be open for public feedback for at least 21 days here, right? So there will be impact analysis before finalizing the regulation. RBI will consider an impact analysis, like what can be the possible impact, how open public it is to acceptance for this draft regulations, and what kind of impact it will create on the entire financial ecosystem and regulatory ecosystem, right? So there will be periodic review as well of the existing regulations. Periodic regulations which are already there will be reviewed regularly now. Okay, issuance of discussion paper for complex regulatory issue. RBI will also release a discussion paper so that clarity should be there, right, before drafting any kind of formal regulation. However, there are certain exceptions to the framework. What can be some of the exceptions? Now RBI cannot release all the draft regulations related to any kind of internal administrative matter is there, then that is not required to be consulted with public, right? So they don't want a 21-day kind of a period over there, right? So in case of internal administrative matter, such as any kind of changes in the staffing policy or procedural requirement, right, which is having not having any kind of substantial impact, then definitely they won't be considering the public opinion for 21 days here. Entity specific regulation. So if there is any kind of entity specific regulation that is not at all intended for public application, then they won't be consulting it with the general public for sure. Situations requiring confidentiality. Now we cannot place the confidential data before the public कि लाओ अपना opinion दो 21 days तक. If the data is confidential, we cannot share it, right? So these are some of the exceptions to the rules. Otherwise, apart from them, everything will be consulted from the public, from the general public. So if there is any kind of updation in the draft regulation, then they need to publish it on their website, right? And it will be open for the public comments for at least 21 days here. Okay, so that's all from my end, guys. Thank you so much for watching this video. In 15 to 20 minutes, we have covered 3 major news here, right? We have already covered that in finance current affairs. However, we have brought the series so that you can cover the exam oriented information which is more important for your examination in the series as well. Okay, here is the link of my Telegram. You can, if you are having any kind of doubt, either you can ask in the comment section or you can connect with me on Telegram as well for the same. Okay, so thank you so much for watching this video. मिलते हैं किसी और वीडियो में. Take care. Bye bye.